All right, what's going on, yo? I'm back with another one. I thought I had to get into this because I don't know, for the past like year, I've been feeling like this H3 podcast, and the entertainment value has been going down the drain. And I was never much of a H3 podcast viewer. I watched maybe five of them my entire life. I watched the one with Tom Segura, the one with Bert Kreischer, the one with Theo Vaughn, and a couple other ones. I basically watched all the ones that he had some stand-ups at that time. And I watched them just because I was a fan of the stand-ups, and I'll watch their podcast. But I've been stopped watching the Bert Kreischer podcast, the Your Mama's House podcast, the Two Bears, One Cave. I don't know. All that shit became redundant. All that shit became the same story, different videos, basically. So I stopped watching it, and I was never the biggest H3 fan. I was never the biggest viewer, but I would watch the clips here and there, and I would just get a bad impression. I always feel like H3 was they were basically putting out, or they were basically standing behind the whole liberal, democratic, I guess left wing agenda. And but the shit he would say, he would just be making these jokes that I'm not against. I'm all for. Like, you making gay jokes, you making race jokes, you making anything. Like, I believe in freedom of speech. But H3, he's been like against freedom of speech, except if it's him. Like, if it's him, he can make gay jokes, he can make race jokes, because I don't know, just from his, I guess from his perspective, since he's a left leaning person. He's not coming from a side of actual hate, so he can make these derogatory, what people think are derogatory jokes. I honestly don't care. Like, a joke is a joke, and you can't control how somebody takes it. You put a joke out there, if somebody gets mad, that's their right. Just like you have the right to say the joke. But I don't know. Ethan Klein, he's always giving people shit. I've seen for like the past few months, I've been noticing that his content was basically like giving people shit for saying certain things, making homophobic jokes or saying some racial epithet, making a racial non-liberal statement, whatever it is. That was his content, basically, is shaming people, shaming and just trying to ruin people's careers, and making light of it, which is all good. Amen to him. He could do all that. But it's been interesting to see the past few months how the tide has been turning, and I felt like I had to make this video and just I don't want to really give too much of my opinion, because I don't have too much of an opinion. I just really think it's interesting how the cancel community, the cancel culture, is turning right back around on him. Like, I know the H3 podcast, they use the whole cancel community, the whole cancel culture. They stood behind it a lot. And I feel like the last year or two, they used it to propel themselves and, keep high audiences, keep big viewership numbers, just because they were, following basically the mainstream agenda. But recently, Ethan has been making these gay jokes, and and I don't got no clips of none of that here, because I'm not really trying to touch too much on the LGBT topic as far as with the H3, because he basically slid through that free. Like, nothing really happened. I feel like he might have lost a sponsor for an episode, but that was just that. and and that may have been strategic. Like, let's not have a sponsor for this episode, and say in the episode that we don't have no sponsors, so people could feel bad, and people could feel like, all right, they got punished enough already, let's ease off of it. So that could have been that whole H3 episode where he was talking about how sad he is of his fans. He basically shamed his fans for canceling him. He shamed his fans for holding him accountable to, holding him accountable for saying the things he said. So, and I understood where his fans were coming from, because basically, if you're making a career for the past year or two, you know, ostracizing and criticizing and judging people on what they say, the jokes they make, then you turn around and make those exact jokes. You know, you shouldn't be surprised if those exact people get offended. But yeah, he made some gay jokes and lost some sponsorships, but like I said, I think it may have been a strategic planning to kind of be like, all right, you see, guys, we got punished, so drop all of it, you know. And that is what pretty much happened. And then I found this one clip that has been making rounds ever since he said that NRA shit, you know, bombed the NRA, crazy as fuck. I don't even know, like, and I'm not surprised, honestly. I'm not surprised. 'Cause when you look online, all these not all these, a lot of these liberal folks, they they get unhinged a lot, basically. You know, if like if they're faced with like an opposing thought, opposing opinion, instead of like being able to talk through it and maybe try to sway the other person, you know, to think liberally and whatever, they go into a rage mode. They start, you know, screaming, yelling at the top of their lungs. They things like that, you know. They even, you know, assault people. So, you know, this clip that I found making the rounds was pretty interesting to me, as far as the mindset of people that identify as liberal, you know. Because me, my beliefs literally basically is like, I got some liberal beliefs, I got some conservative beliefs, and I fall nowhere in Democrat Republican. Because if you Democrat Republican, you have to think exactly like a Democrat or exactly like a Republican. I don't think like either. You know, I think it's very nuanced things and situations going on in this country that's gonna take both sides to basically, I ain't gonna lie, both sides just gotta demolish, you know, like they gotta fucking abolish Democrats, abolish Republicans, and just start like, I don't know, have four Democratic, I mean, four political parties. I feel like it gives people more of a space to really fit in where, really get in where they fit in, as far as like their genuine opinions. Because it's impossible to me that everybody in this country, all, I don't know how much people there is now, but last time I checked, it was like 330 million. All 330 million people, the only option they have is being divided by these two opposing thoughts, where they're like, there's no space for, you know, talking and coming to an agreement. And I feel like as I gotten older, I've seen it more. I feel like when I was younger, and you know, you looked into politics a little bit, you saw, I saw that there was more openness from both sides to find the middle ground. But now these days it's like, and let me say this, you know, Republicans, they be on the extreme dummy shit, you know, with the whole racists and the whole white supremacy and all that. I don't fuck with none of that shit. And but I think that's like obviously wrong, and it's like no shit that that's wrong. So I don't even pay attention to that. Not that I don't pay attention to it, but um I don't like to equate that too much with the Republican Party, because I'm sure if these Nazis or whatever could have their own party, they would. They probably don't really believe in everything that Republicans believe in, you know, good-hearted Republicans, you know, just like some good-hearted liberals don't believe in anything, these extreme liberals, you know, that. And I won't equate extreme liberal with Nazis or anything, but these extreme liberals over the past few years, I don't know, they've been showing signs of violence and signs of, you know, just a poor mentality and a poor way of handling adversity, you know. And this, I'm gonna get into, I know I've been ranting for the past 9 minutes. I'm gonna get into it with this clip, and it just goes, this clip to me says a lot with the mentality of, you know, some of the liberal some people on the liberal side, just because, you know, H3 and Ethan Klein are probably the biggest liberal sided platform there is. Like, they like top 12 around the world for podcasts. You know, if you look at a list of the top 20, they're like number 12 around the world, and they got a big liberal mindset. But throughout watching I only got two clips here, but watching H3, you see, and I think that H3 did everything they can to scrub this first clip. I'm gonna scrub it from the internet. It was very hard to find this clip. The only way I found it was in somebody else's video. They made a video about it, and I had to record their video. So you're gonna see it's kind of blurry. I apologize for the blurriness, but I think H3 did their best to wipe this clip from the internet. And like I said, it goes a lot. It says a lot about Ethan Klein's mentality. The thing he says is a very short clip, but says a lot to me. It says a lot about his mentality, and just it gives you an insight on. And since this guy is so big and influential, I feel like it's a decent little gauge for maybe how his audience mindset is and how they think, you know. But let's get into it.
I'm against violence. Yo, this is how I sit in bed and I think about the wall combo on my gun cabinet. I imagine how fast I can get there, punch in the code, take out the gun, turn off the safety, put the bullet in the chamber. I think about that obsessively every night. And that's the world I live in. Okay? So I'm not against violence when it's necessary. Punching a guy for saying a stupid joke is not necessary. And if you want to test me, come to my fucking house. And I've got 7 bullets. It's a semi-automatic shotgun, and I can unleash 7 fucking bullets on you without even having to cock that bitch. Okay? So if you think I'm against violence, if you think this is something I don't think about, then once again, you can f yourself.
All right, so that was pretty much that clip, and this is a second clip I have here. I'll play in a bit. I just want to talk a little bit about the clip I just played, and I know he saw Ethan talk about somebody breaking into his house, but if you see, he said, you know, on the daily he fantasizes about, you know, this happening, of somebody coming to his house, him getting his gun, loading it up, and shooting somebody, this throwing whatever the fuck he said while doing this. But it's like you could see the unhinged. I feel like you could get an eye into the unhinged nature of some of these liberals. Like, how do you say that you sit around fantasizing about somebody breaking into your house so you could hurt them, you know? And it's like, I feel a sentiment that a lot of these liberals be expressing is that they're ready to hurt any fucking Republican. They're ready to, you know, like, the way they act is like, as soon as they hear an opposing thought, they get into this violent rage and this violent aggression, and it's like they've been preparing. You know, I feel like there's a lot of liberals at home just picturing and imagining what they'll do to a Trump supporter if they ever get the chance. You know, they want a Trump supporter to test them so they could fucking hit them, they could fucking punch them in the face, they could shoot them, you know, they could do whatever, you know. And I feel like that's a sentiment that a lot of liberals online be expressing. And like, even if they're not trying to express it, they're trying to express positivity and liberalism. You see it in a very violent form. Like, anytime somebody tries to ask them an opposing question, or, you know, I try to have a debate, it gets very violent. You know, it gets very, I'll say very verbally violent. Like, they start screaming at the top of their lungs and yelling and being nonsensical. And I feel like that clip, it kind of shows that in a way of like, people are like, there's people sitting around just waiting to like be able to do something to somebody based on their political opinion, you know. And I feel like that kind of sentiment has really been being expressed more these days. unfortunately by the, not unfortunately, it's unfortunate it's by anybody, but these days by the liberal, democratic side of the politics. I know. And like I said, like, you can see online all these like liberal meltdowns in situations that they could, talk their way out of and shit. But I don't think it's good that they're out here like promoting like unsensical behavior. Like, you ain't supposed to be nowhere, fantasizing if people break into your house so you could shoot them. Like, unfortunately, there's people that would break into people's houses, and unfortunately, you're gonna have to put some nigga down. I feel like it's a little unfortunate situation all the way around. Like, fortunately, you have the right to defend yourself with a firearm, man. And let me just say this: it's very interesting how Ethan Klein is very adamantly, against. I'm not gonna say against guns, but he's always posting vague gun control things. Like when this tragedy happened in Texas, that these kids got killed, he's like, "Oh, it's time that we do something about this. We've been doing nothing for too long." And it's like, what do you talk about, Ethan? What is there to do? Like, how about you give, you got such a big platform, you're apparently an intelligent guy. Why don't you give some insight and opinion on what could be done? Because I feel like this is what Ethan does. you know a tragedy like that happens, and he says the obvious, you know good guy thing to say, "Oh, this is horrible, we gotta do something, we've been doing nothing for way too long," just to get likes, and retweets. He really doesn't give a fuck about, he really doesn't give a fuck about doing and going out his way to do anything about it besides tweeting. And that to me is not giving a fuck. The fact that you hop on your platform, millions of, I don't care if it gets one or two, 1 view or 2 million views. And that's like the extent of your doing something, is going on your platform for views and money and being like, this is a bad thing, we must do something about it, but then actively do nothing. you know and I know he raised money for the families of the shooting of the Texas shooting. Shout out to him for that. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like legislative ideas. And because when you talk about we haven't done nothing for too long, you talk about legislation, regulation. Why don't you write up some regulations, write up a bill, write up something helpful, useful, share it on your platform, so everybody that follows you could share it and be like, hey, here's a bill, here's a very, well put together bill that could help this gun violence in the country. But that's too much work, I feel like, for somebody like Ethan. He's more about, saying the right thing to say, which is, it was a horrible thing, we gotta do something about it, and just sitting back and collecting likes and retweets and money off of it, basically. And then recently, after this whole tragedy with fucking, after this whole tragedy with the Texas shooting, Ethan basically believes that, in order to fucking make things better, this is what should be done. I don't know, but I'll stop talking shit. I wanted to get into this clip. Very short clip. It's about 11 seconds. Is maybe from the latest podcast they did, and this is somewhat in response to the Texas shooting, and then the NRA holding a convention or protest, holding something, in Texas after the shooting. They held some rally, the NRA, and this is what Ethan Klein thinks should happen to this NRA.
So there was a big protest outside the NRA meeting, which was good. Do we have any insight into what they're actually talking about there at the NRA meeting that's today in Texas? Someone should bomb that building.
And there you go. And the clip cut off right there, but it's not like I'm taking the context out. That was it. He said somebody should bomb the building. end of sentence, boom. And then one of his producers is like, hey, you know, so he starts saying like, oh, it's a joke, it's a joke, I got ahead of myself. But obviously, like, that 10-second clip was it wasn't a joke. He was saying basically that they deserve to get bombed. And this is one thing that scares me a little bit with the whole liberal agenda and the whole liberal side of politics right now, is that they believe that just because they say good things, that they could do no wrong. Because Ethan basically just empowered somebody that thinks that the NRA should be bombed. He just empowered them to be like, hey, Ethan's such a great guy. He's a good guy. He's known for being a good hearted person. He's a liberal. He's in the right side of things. He's known for that. And he said they should be bombed. It must be a good thing to bomb, places and people that you don't agree with. It's crazy. And you might be like, oh no, you bugging, Lenny, you bugging. But nah, like, there's crazy people in this world. There's crazy motherfuckers, and there's a lot of people that don't know how to think for themselves. And I feel like a lot of H3's audience are those people that they can't think for themselves. They wait for people like H3 to give them their opinion, and then they're able to go out and regurgitate what things like H3 said. But he literally said somebody should bomb the NRA, and his girlfriend was like, she knew what was gonna happen. She like, I wish we could go back in time, because obviously people were gonna do this, clip it and talk about it. And it's super interesting to me that Ethan Klein, a guy that says all the things he says, all the we need to do this in this country, we gotta do that with this country, he sits around fantasizing about shooting people with an automatic shotgun, I guess in self-defense. But who fantasizes about shooting, about being in self-defense situations? Who's like sitting around fantasizing like, oh, can't if they ever break into my house, like, you kind of think like, this could happen one day. You get your gun and you hit the fucking range and you practice just in case. But like, to sit around obsessing, and that's quoted from him, he obsesses with the thought of him shooting somebody, breaking into his house. And then he challenges somebody to test him. He like, if anybody wants, please test me. He like begs somebody to test his, I don't know, I guess gangster, or his toughness, But yeah, he's a dude. He talks about all this liberal shit, all this fucking, he's always trying to end people's careers or give people the hard time for fucking, saying jokes, racial jokes or sexuality jokes. But then he goes on and does all that shit. And I just felt like I had to make this video because I ain't gonna lie, H3 is a very big platform, and I just think that, I don't know, I really believe like Ethan and shit, he ain't the best person to be influencing whoever the fuck he's influencing. Because at the end of the day, I feel like you influencing people to not want to communicate with each other. You influencing people to not want to come to any understanding. You influencing people to fantasize and imagine violence against those that don't agree or those that oppose them. And then you also influencing people to fucking bomb, an opposing political party, an opposing, social group. Like, Ethan Klein talks a big game about liberalism and the right things, and how the correct way the earth or this country should be ran. But like, he's always dropping hints, he's always slipping up and just bringing light that he doesn't give a fuck. It's all about views. It's all about money. It's all about saying, you know, the mainstream liberal thing because that's what's more profitable right now. You know, shit. Ethan Klein sits around fantasizing about shooting people. Like, what the fuck is gun control about that? Like shit, nigga. I don't think you should have a gun. I don't think Ethan Klein should have a gun. If you actively sit around fantasizing about shooting intruders, I don't give a fuck if it is intruders. You know, you shouldn't be fantasizing about having intruders. I feel like you should be fucking praying not to, instead of, you know, fantasizing about having an intruder and then fucking shooting them up and then be like, well, I dare one of my listeners, I dare my listeners to test me, because when you, I don't know, when I'm talking to this camera, I'm assuming is people that fucking listening to me. Like, yeah, there might be people that don't fuck with me listening, but I'm not gonna address them like, hey, come find me or whatever. Ethan Klein was like, please fucking come test me because I want to shoot somebody. I want to shoot one of y'all that's listening right now. Like, it's nuts. It's fucking mental. It's mental. And then he goes on and say, oh, the NRA should be bombed. The nigga's mental. The nigga's nuts. You know, he's obviously not an idiot. He's built a platform. He's made a few million in his life. He's not stupid, but the dude is got problems. Like, I saw a little clip that he was talking about. Oh, you know, you have to be hypnotized or you have to be a certain, like, in a delusion, you know, to believe something about guns. Maybe like, oh, that there shouldn't be no gun control, but I think that Ethan is like living in a delusion, and not with his platform. I know it's a successful platform, but with himself and who he is, I think he's living a delusion. Like, he thinks he's this tough guy that's gonna, you know, trying to, you know, shoot up intruders and fucking, you know, sending people to bomb the NRA. Like, that's terroristic, bro. How fuck liberal are you? You motherfucker, you fucking inciting terroristic beliefs and actions. And some may say, oh man, you exaggerating, you doing this, you doing that. But I think saying you should bomb the NRA is exaggerating. And I'm Dominican as fuck from New York. I don't fuck with the NRA. I don't think I might ever fuck with the NRA just cause like I live in New York. It's illegal as fuck to have a gun. You know, you could get a gun. It's hard as hell. You know, so it's not like I'm on the NRA side and I think, oh, Ethan's wrong for coming at the NRA. No, I think you're wrong for, like, you know, just because these people don't believe in what you believe in, you really think that they should be bombed. That was like I'm gonna replay the fucking shit. I'm gonna replay it. It's so short, I'll replay it.
So there was a big protest outside the NRA meeting, which was good. Do we have any insight into what they're actually talking about there at the NRA meeting that's today in Texas? Someone should bomb that building.
He was that serious because he was basically saying, you know, he's like, oh, the NRA holding a rally today in Texas. When he says today, that he's referring to, you know, they holding a rally right after the school shooting. He's saying, so he's basically saying, how dare they hold a rally today after the school shooting? Somebody should bomb them. So he believes somebody should bomb them because they did a NRA rally after the school shooting, and he genuinely believed that they should genuinely be bombed because they deserve that. They deserve to get a bomb exploded in the vicinity of where the NRA is, or the NRA building. He says somebody should blow up that building. I think he said building. Let's replay it one more time. One more time. It's a short
So there
clip.
was a big protest outside the NRA meeting, which was good. Do we have any insight into what they're actually talking about there at the NRA meeting that's today in Texas? Someone should bomb that building.
Someone should bomb that building. And what do you think, guys? You don't think? I mean, what do you think that he thinks? He thinks that there's no kids, there's no children, there's no adults bringing their kids to the NRA rallies or some shit. And I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe kids aren't allowed. But you basically saying, hey, let's go bomb these innocent women, children, men, women, and children. Because I'm sure at the NRA meeting, all these fucking NRA motherfuckers that love their guns got their kids with them. You know, whoever don't got a babysitter or whatever the fuck it is, they got their kids with them. So you basically saying all these people should be shot. I mean, all these people should be bombed because they don't believe what I believe. Me, the guy that owns a shotgun, and me, Ethan Klein, the guy that owns a shotgun and sits around home fantasizing about shooting intruders and challenges my audience to break into my house so I can shoot them. Me, that guy, that Ethan Klein is so against the NRA that I think they should be bombed. So I think it's pretty interesting, those two clips just together, you know. It's like, if you want to be such a change, Ethan, you such a liberal, shit, go hand in your gun. Go turn in your gun. That's gun control. One less crazy motherfucker with a gun. I think you're a crazy person, and I don't think you fucking need a gun. I probably think that you got whatever mental issues it is enough not to have a gun, just because you literally said you sit around fantasizing about intruders so you could shoot them, and then went on to challenge your viewers to break it. And seriously, like, he was angry when he was saying this. He was like angry, and he was dead ass. He like, shit, I dare one of y'all. He says y'all. He's talking to y'all, the people that's viewing his video. I dare one of y'all to come. And if it was me, I'm like, nigga, what the fuck you talking about? Like, if I would have been watching that video that day, I'd been like, bro, I probably would have never gone on his shit again. Like, how the fuck are you gonna challenge people watching your shit to come break into your house so you can kill them? Literally, not even like jokingly. He said it very begrudgingly, and he was dead serious. And I could play it back. Let's see. All right, that's not it.
You and kill you. Okay. So to say I'm against violence, yo, this is how I sit in bed and I think about the wall combo on my gun cabinet. I imagine how fast I can get there, punch in the code, take out the gun, turn off the safety, put the bullet in the chamber. I think about that obsessively every night. And that's the world I live in. Okay. So
that's the world he lives in. In his world, he has to obsessively fantasize about loading his gun up and shooting an intruder. And I understand he's a rich guy with some money, but I'm sure he lives like in a gated community with security and fucking, and you probably won't even get to use that gun. He talk about I have it unloaded, no bullets, with the safety on. It's like, bruh, why even have it in a fucking gun case if you gonna have no bullets in the shit? But that's besides the point. The point is that this is the guy that thinks the NRA should be bombed.
I'm not against violence when it's necessary.
And obviously not. He's obviously not against violence when he thinks it's necessary. And he thinks it's very necessary. I'm not gonna say very. I'm not even gonna try to put no more sauce, no extra sauce on it. It doesn't need no more sauce. He thinks is, you know, necessary to fucking go blow up the NRA. So he thinks that's necessary violence. That's a necessary situation where violence needs to be held, and it's when the NRA is having a rally, and the most extreme, one of the most extreme forms of violence, a bomb.
Punching a guy for saying a stupid joke is not necessary. And if you want to test me, come to my fucking house. What? And I've got 7 bullets. It's a semi-automatic shotgun, and
he says, you know, punching a guy in the face for saying a stupid joke isn't necessary. And then, side note, but test me, audience. I got 7 bullets waiting for you, audience, and I'm gonna shoot you, audience. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with this man?
I can unleash 7 fucking bullets on you without even having to cock that bitch. Okay? So, if you think I'm against violence, if you think this is something I don't think about, then once again, you can fuck yourself.
And he thinks you should fuck yourself. If you think that Ethan don't think about killing people, don't think about, you know, I want to say protect. I want to say protect his family, bro, because he took it to like, I dare y'all, I dare. You're not protecting your family, friend. If you putting your family in danger, if you daring people to come break into your house so you could prove something, you know. And this is the guy that says you should go bomb the NRA. Look at that mindset he has, you know. And then I want to know what y'all think. What people think? Like, do y'all think he was joking when he said that NRA shit? You know, I don't think so. I'll tell y'all what I think. I don't think he was joking. I think he was dead serious. I think that he believes that the NRA is so bad that they need to have some violence against them. They need some violent actions to be had against the NRA, so maybe people will be scared about being in the NRA or scared about supporting the NRA. And what do you call that when you bomb things to scare people and to stop thinking and believing a certain way? Last time I thought, or I checked, I think that's called terrorism. So what do you think, audience? Is Ethan Klein inciting or, you know, inciting or planting the seeds for terrorism? You know, do you think that somebody could be negatively influenced by those comments? You know, the whole bomb the NRA thing. And do you think is a cool liberal good guy thing to do, to challenge your audience to come break into your house so you could kill them? I don't know. Y'all tell me in the comments below. And what do you how do you think Ela feels about all this? Because if you're able to find the longer clip of the NRA thing, is it's basically just Ela being like, oh my god, I wish we could go back in time 10 seconds so you don't say that dumbass shit, you know, because it's pretty damn bad. It's pretty damn bad. And I don't know, for me, coupled with the other clip, these two clips that I played in this video, is mindset versus mindset is mindset and persona. You know, the mindset is he fantasizes sitting around about fucking, you know, shooting somebody, you know, hurting somebody, defending himself. You know, he sits around fantasizing about that. That's like the mentality of that man. And then he actively said that, you know, somebody should bomb the NRA. You know, and like I said, I don't think it was a joke. There was no joke context to it. His producer hopped on it very fast and was like, whoa, cut that, you know, take that back. And he like, yeah, I take it back. You know, I got ahead of myself. And I don't think he even says it's a joke. He just says, I got ahead of myself. And it's like, yeah, nigga, because you really feel that way. You know, you were just saying what you think instead of thinking before you speak. You were just saying what you think, you know. And that's where a lot of people get caught up. You know, I've been in situations with women that I've said shit that I shouldn't have said, you know, like I was either disrespectful or, you know, a little hurtful or some shit, just because I didn't think before I spoke. I just spoke. I just said what I thought, you know, and every time it's not good. You're not always supposed to say what first comes to mind. You're supposed to give it some thought, you know, and then you really find out how you feel about some shit, you know. You give some thought, you analyze it a little bit, you know. But the thing is, the NRA has been around for a long time, and H3 has been talking about the NRA for a long time. So he's had a long time to think about the NRA. And what he thinks about the NRA to this day is that they deserve to be bombed. And, you know, and that sucks. That sucks that people in America think like that. You know, you got people like that thinking like that with such big platforms. And that's how they think. Because a very like, just very, I don't know, terroristic way of thinking, very terroristic way of thinking, like, because you don't agree with the NRA and they don't agree with you, you think that they should be bombed. There's kids at those rallies, there's old ladies at those rallies, old men, senior citizens. Like, what does it matter what they think when it comes to the aspect of bombing them? Of course they don't deserve none of that shit. But I want to stop ranting about it. I want to know what y'all think. Please let me know in the comments below. You know, what do you think about Ethan Klein and him? First of all, his whole shotgun rant. What do you think about that? That was kind of an old clip. It was very hard to find. I couldn't find an actual clip. I had to steal that clip from somebody else's video. That's why it's so blurry. What do y'all think about that and Ethan Klein going on that shotgun rant? And what do you think about him inviting people or daring people to come break into his house so he could shoot them? And daring his viewers at that. Not like he was in somebody else's fucking stream or some shit. That was his video and his viewers, and he's, you know, threatening them, telling them, I dare y'all to come to my house and break in so I could shoot y'all. What do you think about that? And what do you think about what do you think it says about age 3 and you know, the whole the mentality of Ethan Klein when it comes to him saying that the NRA should be bombed? Like, what do y'all think about that? Do you think it was a mistake? Obviously it's not a mistake. If anything, it was a slip up. You know, he really feels that way, but he slipped up because he knows he shouldn't have said that. I'm sure he knows he shouldn't have said it, but it's how he feels, and he just slipped up. And do you think it was a joke that I missed? Do you think it's a joke that just went over my head? And I don't know. Tell me what you think in the comments below. And if this video gets up to 20 comments, I'll pick one of the first 20 comments, and I'll send you 30 bucks. 30 bucks. I'll send you 30 bucks. It's not much, but you get yourself some lunch. Maybe get you and your friend a small lunch. Get yourself some lunch. Maybe get yourself some gas in your tank. You know, something like that. Put $30 or some crypto. Right now is a good time to buy. You know, so everything is low. So if you haven't bought any crypto before, you know, try to do some research and maybe get into it right now, because prices are low, and more fucking big institutions are starting to buy. So I'm gonna holla at you in the next video. Please like, share, subscribe, and I'm gonna see y'all next time.